me. I have returned with the answer to all your problems. Global warming.
I thought you were against it.
Everybody's against it, Prime Minister. I suddenly realized that is the beauty of it. We can get a unanimous agreement with all of our European partners to do something about it.
But how can we do something about something that isn't happening?
It's much easier to solve an imaginary problem than a real one.
Do you believe it's real?
Do you?
I don't know.
Neither do I. I haven't got the faintest idea. But it doesn't matter what we think. If everyone else thinks it's real, they'll all want to stop it, as long as it doesn't cost too much. So the question now is, what are we going to do about it?
But if it isn't happening, what can we do about it?
Oh, there's so much we can do, Prime Minister. We can impose taxes. We can stiffen European rules about carbon emissions, rubbish disposal. We can make massive investments in wind turbines. We can, in fact, Prime Minister, under your leadership, agree to save the world.
Well, I like that.
But Russia, India, China, Brazil, they'll never cooperate.
Well, they don't have to. We simply ask them to review their emissions policy.
And will they?
Yes. And then they'll decide not to change it. So we'll set up a series of international conferences. Meanwhile, Prime Minister, you can talk about the future of the planet. Yes. You can look statesmanlike. And it'll be 50 years before anybody can possibly prove you're wrong.
And you can explain away anything you said before by saying the computer models were flawed.
The voters will love me.
You'll have more government expenditure.
Yes. How will we pay for it? We're broke.
We impose a special global warming tax on fuel now, but we phase in the actual expenditure gradually. Say over 50 years.
That will get us out of the hole now.
The Germans will be pleased. They have a big green movement.
And we can even get the frogs on board, as long as they get more benefits than everyone else.
Okay, my broadcast is on Sunday morning. You have a day to get the conference to agree.
That's not a problem. The delegates will be desperate for something to announce when they get home.
There is one problem. Nothing will have actually been achieved.
It will sound as though it has. So people will think it has.
That's all that matters.
Clear set, please.
So, to summarise, there is a deepening financial crisis, division in the cabinet, opinion polls are at their lowest for 7 years, government borrowing at an all-time high, and apparently no agreement on what to do about it all at the Lancaster House Summit Conference. Today's papers are asking if Jim Hacker's government can survive. I'm here in Chequers live with the Prime Minister. Can you survive, Prime Minister?
Of course, all governments go through difficult patches.
Yes, but this is more than just a difficult patch, isn't it?
It's a world problem. It obviously has repercussions on the UK.
But it is worse here than almost anywhere else, isn't it?
Would you excuse me a moment? I've been waiting for this. I think you'll find this puts a very different complexion on things. It is perhaps the most momentous document you'll ever see.
May we know what it is?
It is the final communique from the conference, a binding agreement on all members of the European Union to devote unprecedented sums to the battle against global warming. Now, Simon, you saw the latest IPCC reports that the situation is not only far more serious than we thought, but also deteriorating far more quickly.
That was one of the things I was coming to, but if we could talk first about the level of debt.
I obviously haven't made myself clear. I'm not talking about day-to-day issues. I am talking about the survival of life on this planet. Now, I do realise you have to try to score your little political points. That's your job. But the new findings on global warming make all other issues insignificant.
You can't call our debt level insignificant.
Simon, you can chase all the little preoccupations of daily journalism. As Prime Minister, I have to look to the future of the country and of the world. Not tomorrow's headlines, but 10, 20, 50 years ahead. A heavy responsibility. This momentous document commits Europe to an investment of €5 trillion to stop global warming.
How can we possibly afford to spend that sum of money?
We can't afford not to.
But if the money's not
We
there...
are faced with a catastrophic rise in sea levels, torrential storms, melting ice caps, widespread hunger, mass migration.
Are you sure?
Computer models don't lie. They have no ulterior motive.
5 trillion euros.
Over time, in the early years, it will be less, of course. We still have much research to do on new fast breeder reactors, biofuel...
Even so, surely taxes will have to go up. People won't like that.
Simon, people aren't as selfish as you think they are. They are worried about their children, about their grandchildren, about the future of mankind. And if that means doing without a gas guzzler or a 4th plasma TV set, I think that's a sacrifice most people are willing to make.
Prime Minister, I did want to talk to you about cabinet division.
There is no cabinet division on the survival of our species. My cabinet is committed to making this investment in 20 years' time.
They won't be in office then.
I think that's an unworthy remark. Are you saying that a government can't make commitments beyond the immediate future?
No, but 20 years...
We are looking at an historic consensus, the agreement of every single member of the European Union. It will stand alongside the Magna Carta and the American Declaration of Independence.
OK, to move on quickly...
And if I might just strike a personal note, I would like to say how humble it makes me to think that I, as President of the Commission, was able to bring about this historic agreement, which quite frankly transcends any achievement by any post-war government. It is deeply humbling.
Thank you, Prime Minister. Until next week. Goodbye.
Well, Simon, you certainly know how to do a tough interview.
Thank you, Prime Minister.
Oh, magnificent. Prime Minister.
I think you got away with it, Jim, but the Cabinet will have been pretty surprised. We'll have to square them fast.
Bubbles.
We're not there yet. After that interview, you'll need to announce some pretty impressive action.
An initiative.
Yes.
A working party.
Bit lightweight.
A task force.
Not sure.
Do we have enough in the kitty?
Well, it could be one of those initiatives that you announce but never actually spend the money.
Great. Like the one on child poverty.
Maybe it should be a government committee.
Well, what about a royal commission?
Yes, it won't report for 3 years, and if we put the right people on it, they'll never agree about anything important. Right, a royal commission.
No, wait a minute. That makes it sound as if we think it's important but not urgent.
Well, what about a global warming Tsar?
Fine, would that do it?
No, I think it might need a bit more than that, Prime Minister. It'll mean announcing quite a big unit and an impressive salary for the Tsar to show how much importance you place upon him.
No problem. Who would it be?
Well, it can't be a political figure. That would be too divisive. It has to be somebody impartial.
You mean a judge?
No, somebody from the real world. Somebody who knows how to operate the levers of power, to engage the gears of the Whitehall machine, to drive the engine of government.
That's quite a tall order. Anybody got any ideas? Humphrey? Could you?
Oh. Yes, Prime Minister.